Before we look into what an activation rate is, let's look at an example. Here you can see an onboarding funnel for Atlas, broken down by acquisition channel. Organic search is above 41%, while paid social is below 19%. Both sets of users went through the same onboarding, but their completion rates are nearly 20 points apart. We'll see where this gap opens up, what people do before they leave, and ways we can fix it. We'll also see how you can keep listening for these product drop-offs in real time. Before that, let's look at what activation means for your product. Activation begins with a sign-up. The user then goes through a series of steps before they experience the product's first value. This is the first useful outcome the user originally signed up for. There is also an activation window, a set period in which activation is measured. This gives you an exact activation percentage for that period. That percentage becomes useful when combined with the events we've defined above. For Atlas, the activation window is 7 days. Next, let's look at an example. Facebook's growth team famously noticed that when a new user signed up and added 7 friends in 10 days, that users' retention increased. This definition gave the team a specific behavior they could improve. The result was a correlation the team noticed after trial and error. It was useful because the team could see a behavior they wanted to encourage and optimize. Now let's switch back to the product and see how we can define an event. You can create different events based on your product context. These can describe anything that happens inside your application, and you can also send server-side events based on what is right for your product. In this chart, I've added 3 events. The first is sign up, and the second marks the point where the user starts setting up their account. Starting setup shows intent to use the product. The final event is onboarding completed, where we assume the account has activated. These events are bound to the activation window, shown here as a 7-day conversion window. Now let's read the overall funnel. First, I'll remove the breakdown so we can see the raw conversion rate. The overall conversion rate is 33%. 70 users started setting up, and 33 completed onboarding, which leaves a drop-off of 37 users. This is the first part we want to inspect. Next, let's add a breakdown. It lets us classify where the largest drop-off is happening. In this case, let's look at why paid social users did not convert as much. Let's open one of these users' session replays. Here we can see what the user did before they dropped off. Based on this insight, let's create an in-app engagement to assist users who are struggling, or only the relevant segment. Now let's look at a few ways to address this funnel drop-off. The first option is a checklist. It gives users a series of tasks they can complete to reach value faster. The second option is a product tour, which guides users through a series of steps. For more complicated tasks, a tour can be a useful intervention. Checklists and tours can also work together. A user can launch a tour from a checklist mounted inside the application. A less intrusive option is a tooltip, which guides users only when they hover over it or choose to read it. Now let's look at a checklist. You can also create tours and connect them to checklist items. This checklist has a series of steps that help users get more from the application. We can target it so it appears only to a particular group of users. We can track how users behave after these changes. Alerts also let us listen for drop-offs instead of passively watching, then notify us when a drop-off reaches a certain threshold so we can improve the funnel. If you'd like to try this workflow in Userorbit, the free trial and interactive demos are linked below. I'd also like to know which events you use for activation in your product. Leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.